Hi, it's Danielle. Welcome to my perfume journal where I document my love of perfume. This is the third and final video in a series where I have shared my entire perfume collection, and I have talked about every fragrance in my collection in the order that they were released. So in this video, I'll share all of my perfumes that were released from the year 2020 up until now. And then at the end of this video, I will turn the camera around and show you my perfume cabinet where I keep all of my perfumes. Okay, so last part, here we go. Okay, these perfumes are all from the year 2020. The first is Belle de Grace from Fragonard. This is the most beautiful, fluffy, pillowy mimosa perfume. It literally smells like a cloud. And Fragonard make really beautiful perfumes at a great price. Then we have Le Grand Jeu from Voyage Imaginaire. If you are familiar with the brand Goutal, this brand, Voyage Imaginaire, was created by Annick Goutal's daughter Camille, along with the perfumer from Goutal, Isabelle Doyen. And together they created their own independent brand where they create their perfumes almost entirely from naturals. And Le Grand Jeu is probably the most gorgeous tropical floral perfume I've ever smelled. It's coconut, gardenia, tuberose, vanilla. It's soft and a little bit sweet and creamy, but because it's made from naturals, it's got like a little bit of a green quality to it. It is one of the most spectacular perfumes I've ever smelled. Then we have Lovely You from Sarah Jessica Parker from 2020. This is just a really nice soft floral musk. It's heavier on the musk than on the floral, and I love this perfume because it reminds me of one of my aunts. Then we have Solstice Bloom, which is a celebrity perfume by Jennifer Aniston. It smells like warm sand. And finally, in this grouping, Tales of Us from Filigree and Shadow, a wonderful independent artisan brand. James Elliott is the genius perfumer and owner. He has recently moved to Amsterdam. His perfumes are not currently in production or available in the US, so I'm super happy to still have this one in my collection. I've had other perfumes from him as well, and this is just a really gorgeous, natural smelling jasmine. Okay, we're still in 2020. The first perfume is Violet Shot from Olfactive Studio. This was crafted by Dominique Ropillon. This is like the whole entire violet plant in a perfume. It's got the soft chalkiness of a violet petal, but also the green stemminess of the violet leaf. It's a really wonderful composition. Then we have Unue from Jeroboam. This is about the closest thing I've ever come to the original Samsara without it actually being the original Samsara. It's a deep, woody floral with some stewed fruits. Then I have a little double-sided mini of Kayali's Deja Vu White Flower and Invite Only Amber. So the Deja Vu White Flower, it's a really nice blend of white flowers with that sweet Kayali vanilla in the base. And then Invite Only Amber is a really nice introductory amber perfume. Very perfumey, very friendly. Then one of my favorite spring perfumes ever, Issey Miyake's A Drop Issey. Put your face into a lilac bush and inhaled. It smells exactly like that in the opening. It's just fresh, watery, dewy, springy goodness. And then one of my most hilarious perfumes, this is Vacation from Vacation Incorporated, but it was actually crafted by Rodrigo Flores Rue and the Arquiste brand. So this is a super kitschy, conceptual perfume. It's meant to smell basically like a 1980s summer. It smells like suntan lotion, pool toys, a little bit of chlorine, and a wet bathing suit. It is one of the most fun perfumes that I have, and it actually really does smell great when you wear it. Okay, so we are still in 2021. On the left is L'Interdit Rouge from Givenchy. This is the perfume that almost got me kicked out of a family Christmas. This is a hot, spicy tuberose with all the patchouli that has ever been put in a perfume in the entire world. This is a one spray perfume. I put on 12 sprays at Christmas and my family was ready to disown me. However, with one spray, it's beautiful and it's absolutely fabulous to wear outside in the cold. Then we have Panettone from Milano Fragranze. This literally smells like a panettone, like candied orange and ginger and fluffy, doughy sweetbread. If you grew up eating panettone on or around Christmas, you will recognize this scent instantly. I don't really wear this perfume very much, but I do love to have it around for nostalgia. Then we have Vanagloria from Laboratorio Olfativo. This smells a lot like the super viral Baby Cat, but this actually came out before Baby Cat. And like Baby Cat, it was crafted by Dominique Ropion. This is basically a sueded incense vanilla. It's soft and velvety and a little bit woody. Vanagloria has a little bit of a pineapple note in it, so that's what makes it just a little bit different from Baby Cat. So in 2021, I started really kind of diving into independent artisan perfumes. So there were two brands that really got me into independent perfumery. One was Wit and West. She creates these incredible botanical perfumes. A lot of the materials in her perfumes, she actually makes herself. I got myself a discovery set from Wit and West, and I smelled through all of her perfumes and fell in love with so many of them. But in the end, I chose Gavatella. Gavatella it's a citrus perfume, but to me, it smells like you are driving through a road in Tuscany and all of the cypress trees are just kind of like billowing around you. It is one of the most evocative perfume brands I've ever come across, and it's why I kind of like fell in love with independent perfumery. Perfumes that can create that kind of imagery immediately when you smell them are really special, and these perfumes and the perfumers behind them are really special. So then another independent perfumer I really enjoy is Darren Allen. I took a whole bunch of perfumery classes with him that were amazing, and I have a little collection now of perfumes from his subscription service he offers. You can get a 10 ml travel size of his perfume sent to you every month for like $25. And so I did that for about 6 months so that I could really kind of explore and get to enjoy his perfumes. And it was such a great subscription. Anyway, this is Cupid's Bow. This perfume smells like a musky chocolate rose. It is delicious. I'm doing that thing again where I look at my tray and I'm like, oh, I love my perfumes. Okay, this is such a good tray. This is all 2022. So first is Adorum from Nez. This is my favorite incense perfume of all time. So of course it's discontinued. This is a fabulous churchy incense with a big spoonful of dark cocoa powder swirled in. It's just amazing. Then we have Arancha Rosa from Laboratorio Olfativo. This is a Jean-Claude Elena perfume, and it is like a blood orange and a tart grapefruit had a baby. Then the wonderful Lovely Lights that Cass gave me when we met up. This is a sweet, creamy, lotiony honeysuckle perfume. Then I have the fabulous Wendy from Wendy's Parade of Perfumes to thank for introducing me to Luminous from La Perla. This was a late addition to my collection last year, and you can see just how much I've enjoyed it so far. This is Ambrette, Jasmine, and Cedar with this sparkling sweetness to it. That's so gorgeous. This is one of my favorite everyday reaches. And another favorite everyday reach is Musk Noir Rose from Narciso Rodriguez. This is plum, tuberose, vanilla, and musk. It is sweet, creamy, musky, floral beautifulness. This is one of those perfumes that just makes you feel pretty. Okay, all of these perfumes are also from 2022. And I feel like this tray is another great representation of my perfume collection and the way that I approach perfume. I keep a pretty strict budget. And so as the years have gone on and the price of perfumes have gone up and up and up, I have found lots of ways to enjoy this hobby on my budget. Minis, decants, affordable gems, shopping secondhand, all of those things have helped me continue to keep my love of perfume going without going broke. And so with all the bazillion new releases out there, I like to sample and buy little decants and do things like that rather than buy whole entire bottles of perfume. So here on this tray is a great example of some of the ways that I have sort of continued to enjoy this perfume hobby as prices go up, releases continue to explode, and my love of perfume hasn't really changed. So these are just some of the things that I've done over the years to continue to enjoy this hobby responsibly for me. So first we have from 2022, a little mini of Cacharel's Yes I Am Delicious. This is the flanker of the original Yes I Am. This is like the chocolate orange version of Yes I Am. So very sweet, creamy, perfumey gourmand. Then we have Miracle Muse from Miller Harris. This is my favorite fruit patchouli perfume. This is a strawberry rose patchouli with an ambery, musky, woody base. It's a warm, fruity perfume. It smells like a compote, and it definitely has that bite of patchouli to it. Then a little mini of Prada Paradox that I got in a secret Santa exchange with one of my oldest besties. And this is a perfume I did not expect to like at all and ended up absolutely loving. This is pear, white florals, and vanilla. It's got that salty, sweet, creamy thing going on with, for me, just the right amount of ambroxan. Sometimes ambroxan can take over a composition for me and really turn me off. But in Prada Paradox, they did a nice job dosing the ambroxan to give that little bit of saltiness to the sweet pear and the white florals and the vanilla. Just a wonderful, modern, floral, everyday scent. Okay, then we have Spring Dance from Juicebox, which is a brand that I totally turned my nose up at when I first discovered it, and I was wrong. I'm going to put my tail between my legs. I'm going to eat my words. This is a great brand. At first, I thought they were a little gimmicky with these like record player caps. And I think the perfumes come in like 78 milliliter bottles because records would turn 78 rotations per minute. But every Juicebox perfume I have smelled so far is great. This one was crafted by Dominique Ropillon, and it is a fresh green floral. Now, the hero note in here is honeysuckle, but I get neroli. It's a little bit aromatic. There's a little bit of like rosemary in here. There's some tart grapefruit and a nice light musky base. Super bright, super happy, super refreshing. And I'm so grateful to my friend Aiden who sent this to me as a surprise. Then we have a decant of YSL's Baby Cat from a very generous friend of mine. Look at the color of that liquid. It has darkened up so much over time. It used to be like a kind of like a pale amber, and now it is this deep bronze color. Vanilla oxidizes, and that's what turns, vanilla perfumes darker over time. Like Vanagloria, this is a sueded incensey vanilla. This to me is a little more velvety, a little more buttery than Vanagloria. It doesn't have the pineapple that adds a little bit of like sweet and sour kind of quality to Vanagloria. That's not here in Baby Cat. Baby Cat is just smooth. And as my sister-in-law says, it smells like wealth. Okay, we are still in 2022. This is Belle Âme from the independent brand Les Abstraits. So Belle Âme is all about the orris, the cocoa, and the tonka. It's powdery and velvety and soft and buttery. This is going to sound really, really weird, but there is something about the quality of this perfume that smells like a licked arm to me. Not in a bad way, but it just has like this kind of saliva quality to it. The materials in this are of the highest quality, and I think that this is a really well-crafted perfume. And then finally, the wonderful Jill sent me a decant of Rose Arabia White from Whittian. This is a perfume that the first time I tried it, there was something about it that didn't work for me. However, I'm giving it another chance because it is in the family of perfumes that I love, those sort of like sweet, creamy, lotiony florals. So I have this one on my tray for March, and I will report back at the end of the month on whether I like it more or not. Okay, this has been a really interesting exercise in looking at my collection this way. One of the things that I'm definitely noticing, again, as time goes on, is the sizes of perfumes that I'm adding to my collection is shrinking. Like I am definitely going for fewer 100 ml bottles, more decants, more travel sizes, more 50 mils, more 30 mils, and whenever offered like a 15 mil, and also speaks to the increasing price of perfumes. Okay, so first we have another decant of a super expensive perfume from Guerlain's Art et la Matière line. So this is Oud Nude, And I don't usually go for oud perfumes, but I definitely wanted to try this one out. So I went for this little 5 ml decant, and I love this perfume. This is an almondy raspberry rose oud with a creamy sandalwood base. It is gorgeous. If you don't love the heaviness of oud or like that barnyardy kind of oud, this is a sheer oud, if you will. It's absolutely gorgeous. So we're still in 2022, and I have a little travel size of Kayali's Love Fest Burning Cherry. I won this in a giveaway. This is one of those perfumes that I will remember more for the viral ad campaign than I will for the perfume itself. To me, this is a very medicinal smelling cherry. I don't love the way this smells on me. Like, I like the smokiness and the Palo Santo in here, but there's something about the cherry itself that smells like cough syrup on me, which I know cherry can sometimes do in a perfume. But I'm kind of just keeping this around more as a reminder of the evolution of the super viral campaigns that had everybody clamoring to get this perfume. Okay, so earlier I had mentioned that there were two independent artisan perfume brands that really introduced me to the whole idea of the craftsmanship of artisan perfumery. The first was Wit& West, and the other is Perfume. This is one of my favorite independent perfume brands, and Allie, the owner and perfumer, is just a fabulous human. I took a couple of perfume classes with her. She was a wonderful teacher, and you can just see her passion for perfume in every scent that she makes. Niam Pierrot is a peachy, milky lemon cake dusted with saffron. Allie's perfumes are all very, very conceptual, very interesting, very fun, very kitschy, very retro, and I'm so happy to have several of her perfumes in my collection. Flipping over to a designer perfume, this is Bare from Victoria's Secret. I love this perfume. In fact, I should just get myself a bottle of this because my rollerball here has actually gone off. This fits into the category of perfumes like Luminous from La Perla, like Calvin Klein Beauty, like Myth from Ellis Brooklyn. But instead of jasmine, you have violet, and instead of cedarwood, you have sandalwood. So it's sweeter, it's creamier. I get that kind of like ambrette quality in this perfume that you get in the others, even though I don't see ambrette listed as a note. I think it's one of Victoria's Secret's best ever. Okay, so this is the last perfume from 2022. This is Bread and Roses from Perfume, and this is what she calls her baby pear. Isn't that cute? Her bottles are called baby pears. I also love her handmade Dymo labels. But Bread and Roses is exactly what it sounds like. It is a crusty, warm, freshly baked baguette that has just come out of the oven in a French bakery, and right next door is a florist that just received a big delivery of red roses. Moving into 2023, the phenomenal Delta of Venus from Eris Parfums. So Barbara Herman is the owner of the independent brand Eris Parfums, and she partnered with Antoine Lee to create all of the perfumes in her line. Barbara, before she started her brand, Barbara was a well-known perfume blogger and writer and author. I was obsessed with her blog. She has written volumes and volumes about vintage perfumes through history. She is a very knowledgeable, very well-read, very well-informed perfume historian. And so you know her brand is going to be amazing, and it is. And so after smelling through the entire Discovery set, I ended up choosing a bottle of Delta of Venus because it is like nothing else I had in my collection and like nothing else I'd ever smelled. This is a guava perfume. It smells like a fresh, just ripening guava. It's super green. It's juicy, it's watery, it's refreshing, it's happy, it's a little bit tropical, and one of my favorite warm weather perfumes. The last perfume on the tray is Gloam. So I heard about this perfume from Jeff and Jane's podcast, Fragrophilia. They were talking about it, and I was like, that sounds really interesting. So I happened to be on vacation. I stopped in an Aesop store, and I ended up walking out with this bottle. So Vacation Danielle took over that day. This is a really interesting perfume. This is another one of those perfumes that is like nothing else in my collection because it has a little bit of everything. It's really a mimosa perfume, but there's so much more going on here. It's woody, it's powdery, it's green, it's spicy. It's so many things that you can't really pigeonhole this perfume into one category or one genre or one style. It has cardamom, it has orange blossom, there's some saffron in this, there's iris, it's a little bit balsamic, and there's patchouli in here. It's wild. And to me, the way I always describe this perfume is that it feels like there's a tension to it. It's being pulled in two directions. Like on one hand, it's a happy, springy green floral, and on the other hand, it's a moody, spicy, woody thing. It is one of the most interesting perfumes in my collection, and I have no regrets that I impulse bought this bottle that day. Okay, so first is Melilot from L'Occitane. The heart of this perfume is a sweet green clover, but it's all wrapped up in some carrot seed, some nutty qualities. There's bran in this, so there's like a carby, weedy aspect here. And then there's some sweetness from some pear. This is what I would call a springy gourmand. Also from 2023 is Paradox Intense. And I'm going to be honest, I've only worn this once and I don't remember anything about it. So I'm going to have to wear this one again and see if I like it as much as the original Paradox. Then we have a travel size of Patchouli Mania from Essential Parfums. So I actually really love this brand. They partner with master perfumers, and similar to the Frederick Malle brand, they put the perfumer's name right on the bottle, which I love. I think that's awesome. I think more brands should do this. Name the perfumer. So they give the perfumer a pretty loose brief. Usually it's around a particular note or material, and let them do what they want with that particular material. So this is Fabrice Pellegrin, and his material was patchouli. And what he came up with is a very earthy, little bit spicy, powdery, chocolatey patchouli. It's pretty straightforward. It's definitely a patchouli perfume. You have to like patchouli to get along with this one. And most of the perfumes that I've smelled from them are indeed excellent, and this one is no different. Then I have a little travel of Amouage's Guidance, and I'm going to have to come clean. I don't like Guidance. I actually sprayed it on myself once when I was on vacation and I wanted to see what all the hype was about. I sprayed it onto my scarf and I loved it. I was like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever smelled. And then I got this little decant and I sprayed it on my skin and I was like, nope, this one is not for me. The ambroxan in this is just way too much. So what I get from Amouage is pear, hazelnut, ambroxan, and on me, it just doesn't seem to work, which is a shame because I loved it the first time around. Okay, then this past month, I actually did pick up a decant of Burberry Goddess for myself. I sort of overlooked that one when it first came out in 2023, and that was a mistake because I think it's beautiful. It's a gingery cocoa vanilla, and I think it's delicious. It smells warm and cozy, and I'm super happy to have this little decant. I have two more Parfat perfumes in my collection. The blue label bottle is my favorite of all of Allie's perfumes. It's Amicus Cumulus, and I always say that this smells like a tea party in a hot air balloon. It's strawberry jam, it's licorice, it's ozonic notes that give you that kind of like hot air balloon kind of a feel, and oolong tea. It is very Alice in Wonderland coated, and I think it perfectly encapsulates who Allie is as a perfumer and what Parfat is all about. And a close second to that is Multiball, which is the final perfume on the tray here. So this smells like a retro 50s diner with wall-to-wall pinball machines, a stainless steel topped bar, and you are sipping a lime flavored Coke. That's what it smells like. It's super fun, and she makes some really cool stuff. So of all of the perfumes that were released in the year 2024, this is what I added to my collection from that year's releases, all from independent artisan brands. So on the left is Primo Bacio First Kiss from Acqua di Giulietta. This is a little family-owned perfume house in Verona, Italy. And I bought this perfume because it has a camellia note. Camellia is a flower that you don't see used very much anymore in perfumery. This is a soft, petally, dewy, pink floral with just a hint of white musk. It is delicate and lacy and lovely. And then I have a bunch of perfumes that I got from my Darren Allen subscription, and they're all wonderful. So all of his compositions are very straightforward, but very, very well done. He is a very good perfumer. So Vetiver Blanc is a vetiver perfume. It's a lighter, airier vetiver. Then we have Trailing Arbutus, which is a recreation of a vintage Avon perfume. It's something only Darren would do. It's a lovely, soft, fresh green floral. Honeysuckle Summer is a beautiful, natural smelling honeysuckle perfume. Spiced Amber, it's a very fall smelling perfume. And then Rose Geranium, it's that classic green rose geranium scent. All of Darren's perfumes smell very vintagey to me. They pay homage to classic profiles, classic combinations, and he is quite a talented independent perfumer. Well, there's supposed to be one more perfume on this tray, but I lost it. I can't find it anywhere. It's a little decant of an Été Français from Celine, and I don't know what I did with it, but I will tell you about it anyway. Celine perfumes cost an arm and a leg. So when an Été Français was released and I was interested in it, I went for a little decant. So an Été Français is a neroli perfume, and then it has a big old dollop of that Celine vanilla. It's creamy and fresh and green and very, very true to the Celine style. The last three perfumes and the only releases from 2025 that I added to my collection. Shalimar L'Essence, the release for the 100th anniversary of Shalimar. It is that gorgeous, classic, balsamic, ambery vanilla, minus a lot of the leatheriness and with a super extra dose of bourbon vanilla. It is beautiful, rich, creamy, enveloping, a little bit smoky. It is purely Shalimar updated for 2025, and I love it. Then we have the beautiful Angel Stellar, which takes the original Angel DNA, that familiar and totally groundbreaking cotton candy patchouli from 1992, and it adds a delicious nutty pistachio note. It's a little bit of a softer patchouli than the original Angel, which works just fine for me in 2025. And then the most recent addition to my collection, the perfume that was one of my longtime unicorns and is finally sitting on my shelf, Vivienne Westwood's Boudoir, the 2025 release. Just the most unique, beautiful, spicy bedroom rose with undertones of vanilla and woods, a little bit of clean sweat. I am still pinching myself that I finally have a bottle of this perfume, and I am just begging other brands to lean into our cry for the re-release of some of these discontinued gems. Please bring us back our Midnight Poison, our Lauren, our Alien Essence Absolute. We will be so grateful, and I promise we will not take it for granted. So that is my whole entire perfume collection, and I am now going to turn the camera around to my perfume cabinet so you can have a look at how I keep my perfumes. All right, I've never done this before, so let's see how this goes. So this is my perfume cabinet. It's an old IKEA cabinet that I repurposed. I've had this cabinet for like 20 years. I took the doors off and I wallpapered the back, and then I put on some new knobs. And so this is where I keep most of my perfumes. There are a few perfumes in the drawers. That's where I keep my vintages and all of the things that I just really don't ever want to see the light of day. So when I am not in this room and I don't have the lights on, you can see I have curtains on the windows to kind of keep the light out, and this room stays really, really dark. So I'm not worried that I don't have doors on the cabinets anymore. Okay, so let's go through all of these sections. So up here on the top is where I keep my little pedestal of all of my independent perfumes. So that's where I have all my little Parfait perfumes. I have my filigree shadows, and I have some candles. So then this section right here is all of my fresh and clean and bright perfumes. So this is where I keep all of those. Got my little Pampaloon, my Arancha Rosa, Gloam, all of my summertime freshies. And it's spilled over into this little section right here. I've got my Issey Miyake. And, oh, look at, there's the little decant, the Celine decant. Okay, there it is. Now you got to see it. I have a little section of Sarah Jessica Parker perfumes right here. That's where I keep them on this little extra tray. And over here is where I have all of my like powdery and lighter florals. So look at what's front and center. My baby, my lipstick on a bunny, my Violet Ida is there. So all of these are like my light, powdery, fluffy, rosy, pretty pink perfumes. This is harder than I thought. I'm going to move down a shelf here. Okay, moving down, these are where I keep my like darker, richer, thicker, more confident, bolder florals. All of these are like bold florals. You might call them like fall and winter florals. So that's where I have my Zoologist Nightingale, my Theophenol scent is back there, my L'Ange Noir, Incarnata. Okay, then on this beautiful tray that my sister-in-law brought me back from a vacation that she took is where I have my most frequent reaches. So these are my most special perfumes, the things that I really love the most. Poor little boudoir is back there. Got to move her up to the front now. But I've got my Shalimar, Melograno, Chanel, Iris, my Luminous, Poison. These are my faves. These are my babies. And then over here is the woody section. So this is where I have my Bois Farine, my Lumière Blanche, Stash, my incense perfumes. We've got our Benjoin Bohème here, woody, spicy perfumes. Then moving down to the bottom shelf, we have kind of like my inexpensive, affordable gems. Over here, we've got gourmands all on this little tray. We've got Prada candy back there. And then these are all my current formulations of vintages, except for that Nikki de Saint Phalle that I keep back there because I like to look at it because it's my favorite perfume of all time. And that one has gone off, so I don't mind having that one out. But all of the rest of the vintages are current formulations. And then my little spinner of travel sizes and decants. Okay, I can't believe I'm opening this mess, but you got to see it. This is where I have all the vintages, my vintage minis, my vintage bottles, and that's my little Osmotech, my collection of discontinued samples and things that I keep on reference. My one and only backup bottle of Violet Ida, and some stuff I'm decluttering. So that's my little hidey hole drawer. Okay, so that's it. That's my perfume cabinet. That's how I store all of my perfumes, how I've organized them, and how I display them because I think that they're beautiful. I love my perfume bottles. I like to just come and sit in here sometime and look at them. Okay, whew, I'm exhausted. All right, so that's it. That's my whole entire perfume collection. I hope you enjoyed snooping through my cabinet and my shelves and seeing all of the perfumes that I love so much that I have collected over the years. And I had a lot of fun making this. It was cool to go through my whole collection decade by decade. And really, this whole thing has just reminded me that my love of perfume has not changed in over 40 years. I still love it as much as I did in the 70s when I was sitting on the bathroom floor smelling Halston, Aramis, and Old Spice, and in the 80s when I was spraying myself down with Poison and Isatis and Liz Claiborne, and in the 90s when I was wearing Happy by Clinique and all of the years since then when my perfume collection really started to bloom. So thanks for coming on this ride with me. I really appreciate you being here. I really, really appreciate all the really nice comments that you all left in the other two videos. It was so cool to see how many people had memories of a lot of the perfumes from the first video from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and some of the perfumes that you associated with people that you love, perfumes that you wore during special times in your life. And that's really why I started making these videos on YouTube. It was not really to like show my perfumes or talk about what I was buying, but it's really because I think perfume is one of those things that connects people. And if there is one thing that we could use more of in this world nowadays, it is the human connection. So perfume can do that for us. Thanks for listening to me wax poetic about smelly water, but I really mean it. It's something special. And I'm glad we're here together to talk about it and love it so much. I'll stop now. I hope you have a really great day, and I'll see you soon in the next video. Bye.